My name is Laurie Moline. I am married to Tom, and I have two grown sons, Michael and Joey. So my family heart history definitely is male-dominated. You know, my great-grandfather died from a heart attack while he was shoveling snow. My grandfather died from a heart attack. My father ended up having congenital heart disease and had his valve replaced. And eventually that valve went bad, and they tried to replace it again, and he didn't survive that. I discovered my heart disease I kind of stumbled into it. I think I'd had a fainting spell, and they discovered I had a bicuspid aortic valve. So you have two flaps on your bicuspid valve when you're supposed to have three. That was the same condition that my father had. And then I was just busy living my life, so I would go and check in with the cardiologist, but I really didn't realize how quickly it could go bad. And that's kind of what happened for me. I went and had an echo done in July, didn't follow up on it. About 5 months later, just found out that I was in severe aortic stenosis and also had an aneurysm, and really needed to get my valve replaced and the aneurysm repaired. Once I got in cardiac rehab, it made a huge difference. I felt a lot better, and I felt very confident about continuing my recovery on my own. If you're feeling lack of energy, if you're feeling like you can't do the same things you did before, instead of beating yourself up, talk to your doctor about it. And really make sure your doctor really understands that there's a big difference in, you know, how you feel now versus how you've been before. My father had this same condition that I have, and the technology that was available to replace his valve has evolved, you know, a million times since then. And that's coming from research from organizations like the American Heart Association and the funding that's given because of that. A lot of people are important to me. I'm actually really involved in mentoring in the community. My young African American kids that I'm working with are experiencing so much loss and so much heart-related loss in their families at young ages.
I didn't realize that was early until I'm sitting there with one of my mentors, and she's like, "Your parents, they're young. They should not be losing their life at this age." My name is Serena Draper Hendershot. I am married to a loving husband named Andre. And then I also have a daughter. She's 16 months, and I have a stepson who is 5. Before I was actually born, my mother actually lost both of her parents to heart-related diseases. And then also my aunt who raised me, she was diagnosed with diabetes and high blood pressure. At age 63, she actually passed away. In the year of 2018, my mom actually passed away to diabetes and high cholesterol. I actually was pregnant in the year of 2018, so my mom wasn't able to actually meet my daughter. And so when I was giving birth, my daughter, she came, and it was a healthy delivery. I thought I was fine. I went home, and then literally 7 days later, I ended up back in the hospital. They ended up telling me that I had post-eclampsia. They saw the numbers. They were like, "You could have had a stroke at age 23. And it was in that time that I literally looked back and I'm like, this has to stop. Because basically my mom lost her parents before I got to meet them. Here I am, like I could be next. Definitely after having my daughter and knowing what came with that, it definitely caused for me to change the way I was cooking my foods, but then also making a drive to do the exercising and everything else. It had to be priority, it had to be. I totally support what the American Heart Association is trying to do, and I just hope that my story can just be an inspiration for others to start building that awareness as well.